Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Mackenzie Shirilla? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. In 2022, 17-year-old Mackenzie Shirilla lived in Strongsville, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland. She had a boyfriend named Dominic Russo. He was 20 years old. Sometimes Mackenzie and Dominic would hang out with a 19-year-old friend named Davian Flanagan. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On Sunday, July 31, 2022, at about 5:30 a.m., Mackenzie, Dominic, and Davian were riding around in a 2018 Toyota Camry. Mackenzie was driving the vehicle. All three of the individuals had allegedly been smoking marijuana. Mackenzie was traveling south on Pearl Road in Strongsville when she turned right onto Progress Drive. She used her turn signal and was driving slowly. Progress Drive runs through the Progress Business Park, which, not surprisingly, contains several businesses. This industrial park would normally not be busy at that time of the morning, especially on a Sunday, and Mackenzie did not appear to be conducting any business in this area. At the west end of Progress Drive, about 3,900 feet from where Mackenzie turned off Pearl Road, there is an intersection with Alameda Drive. At this intersection, there is a business that offers pipeline repair and maintenance. It occupies a 250,000 square foot building. Not long after making the turn onto Progress Drive, Mackenzie jerked the steering wheel to the right and then to the left. She pushed the accelerator to the floor and about 4 or 5 seconds later slammed into the brick exterior of the pipeline repair building at the end of the road. The Camry was traveling at about 100 miles per hour when it hit the building. About 45 minutes after the collision, a passing motorist noticed the severely damaged Toyota Camry and called 911. When emergency responders arrived, they found that both Dominic and Davian were dead. Mackenzie was unconscious in the driver's seat. There was a fuzzy Prada slipper stuck to the accelerator. She may have thought that the movie title, The Devil Wears Prada, was actually an instruction. Mackenzie was transported to a hospital and received multiple surgeries. On November 4, 2022, which was over 3 months after the collision, Mackenzie was arrested. She was charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder, 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, trafficking, drug possession, and possessing criminal tools. Allegedly, emergency responders found magic mushrooms and a digital scale in Mackenzie's pocket. Mackenzie was also charged in connection with a separate incident. On July 19, she allegedly broke into the Columbia Church of God in Columbia Station, Ohio. She was charged with breaking and entering, vandalism, and desecration. Mackenzie went to trial in August 2023. It was a bench trial, so the judge decided her fate instead of a jury. On August 16, Mackenzie was found guilty of 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, 1 count of drug possession, and 1 count of possessing criminal tools. She faces a mandatory life sentence with the possibility of parole after 15 years. The judge said that the surveillance video clearly showed the purpose and intent of Mackenzie. She chose a course of death and destruction. The judge said, quote, "This was not reckless driving, this was murder," unquote. When talking about Mackenzie's driving behavior, the judge said, quote, "She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels as she made her way down the street," unquote. I think the judge meant figurative hell on wheels, and considering that Mackenzie was using marijuana and driving, I doubt that she was a responsible driver, but the judge's statement is catchy nonetheless. Now moving to my analysis. Mackenzie continues to maintain her innocence. Her defense was that no one could possibly know what happened inside of that vehicle. Perhaps Mackenzie was guilty of being reckless, but that is different than murder. The state, of course, disagrees. They believe that Mackenzie slammed her vehicle into the building to end her toxic relationship with her boyfriend Dominic. Her friend Davian died simply for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. This brings me to the question, was Mackenzie actually guilty of murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that Mackenzie was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Mackenzie had a tumultuous relationship with her boyfriend Dominic. Family and friends said the romance had become volatile in the weeks before the collision. Friends had to intervene physically on one occasion and pull Dominic from Mackenzie's vehicle during a fight. 2 weeks before the collision, Mackenzie allegedly threatened to crash her vehicle with Dominic in it because she was upset over a disagreement. A friend overheard a phone call with Dominic, during which Mackenzie said, quote, "I will crash this car right now," unquote. A video of an argument between Dominic and Mackenzie was recovered from Dominic's cell phone. Mackenzie repeatedly degraded and threatened Dominic, as well as damaged his property. She threatened to scrape a key on his car unless he let her inside his family home. According to Mackenzie's cell phone data, several days prior to the fatal collision, she visited the Progress Business Park. Progress Drive was not a road that Mackenzie visited on a regular basis. There is no evidence that Mackenzie had any business in that area. If one wanted to commit a murder by ramming a vehicle into a building, the industrial park would be ideal because there would be a low risk of having witnesses. Mackenzie was operating the Toyota Camry at the time of the collision. It was her responsibility to operate the vehicle safely. She was driving slowly when she turned onto Progress Drive and even used her turn signal. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, she pushed the accelerator to the floor. Between that time and the collision, Mackenzie did not lift her foot off the accelerator and did not apply the brakes. She drove the vehicle straight into a building while traveling at 100 miles per hour. Any reasonable person would know that slamming into a building is not consistent with remaining alive. After the collision, Mackenzie expressed grief, guilt, and shame to physicians who treated her. This could be interpreted as consciousness of guilt. Mackenzie asked a detective if he could take away her driver's license for 10 years. Moving to the exculpatory factors, it is possible that Mackenzie lost control of her vehicle while driving recklessly. Maybe she impulsively pushed the accelerator to the floor in an effort to be playful and never intended to slam into the building. It's possible that Mackenzie did not realize that Progress Drive ended where it did, like the building took her by surprise. She was too panicked to activate the vehicle's brakes. She froze in terror. Maybe Mackenzie had scoped out the industrial park in advance to find a road where she could speed without being detected. It is not unusual for young drivers to look for places where they can misbehave. It is also possible that Mackenzie planned on hitting the building but not killing anyone, like she was trying to gently slam into the building and miscalculated. Mackenzie and Dominic were at a house with friends the night before the collision. The friends said that they appeared to be happy, and they did not argue. Other people testified that the couple was making plans for the future in the months leading up to the collision. Mackenzie's mother testified that her daughter had been diagnosed with a disorder in 2017, which caused her to pass out from time to time. Mackenzie claimed that she blacked out and did not remember what happened. If the relationship with Dominic was toxic, there were non-fatal ways available to end the romance. For example, Mackenzie could have sent Dominic a text message saying, "Our relationship is over." When considering the evidence in this case, do I believe that Mackenzie was guilty of murder? Yes. In my opinion, Mackenzie was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. She drove the vehicle into a building with the intent of killing everyone. Moving to the last question, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Mackenzie was highly interested in using drugs. She consumed them with her boyfriend and with others. She thought of herself as invincible. For example, one time she made a post on the social media platform TikTok, which read, quote, "I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die," unquote. One could argue that Mackenzie was not well supervised. She was 17 years old, yet driving around at night using marijuana. Mackenzie's relationship with her boyfriend Dominic was unnerving, bizarre, fatalistic, toxic, and drug-fueled. They frequently argued, and Mackenzie became upset when she did not get what she wanted. She felt as though she deserved for Dominic to give in to her demands. She was not willing to compromise or to be reasonable in any way. Frustrated by the relationship, she felt unable to drive her point home. She gave herself the green light to murder Dominic and bring an end to her own life at the same time. Mackenzie may have felt trapped, angry, vengeful, or even sadistic. She believed that she was entitled to have her emotions affect the lives of other people, up to and including death. Mackenzie was paving the way to destruction. Before driving the Toyota Camry into the building, Mackenzie could have easily allowed her friend Davian to exit the vehicle, but she was self-centered, grandiose, and lacking in empathy. Killing someone who was uninvolved meant nothing to her. It is also possible that Mackenzie deliberately killed Davian as a way of punctuating the fatalistic romance with Dominic. Like the relationship was mystical and eternal, it deserved a witness to its earthly termination. After committing the murders, Mackenzie felt guilt and shame, but was quickly able to change gears. She took a detour from reality and maintained an ill-fated and star-crossed vision of her relationship with Dominic. As if they had some type of magical romance, they were destined to be together someday in the afterlife. For example, on August 6, 2022, a week after the fatal collision, Mackenzie, or someone using her name, posted on Dominic's obituary website. She wrote, quote, "You are the love of my life, you will always be with me, and I will always think about you," unquote. That same day, Mackenzie also wrote, quote, "I love you, Dom. You are my soulmate. I won't never forget the memories we made together. You made me the girl I am today, and you were just an amazing, bright soul," unquote. Mackenzie also indicated a desire to, quote, "hug you one last time," unquote. On August 8, the day of Dominic's funeral, Mackenzie wrote, quote, "I'll never stop thinking about you," unquote. On August 24, Mackenzie wrote, quote, "I still feel like you are just going to walk in the door any second. I miss your laugh, your perfect smile. I feel your energy around me every day. I wish it was physical." She went on to suggest that he was the last person to deserve this and had such a perfect life ahead of him. She concluded with the request, quote, "Please wait for me," unquote. These posts are consistent with the fatalistic theme and indicate a profound lack of insight. Mackenzie did not possess the ability to look under the hood. Here she was responsible for Dominic's death, but she was acting as if they were still in love. Not only that, her boyfriend should be waiting for her in the afterlife. I find this statement to be curious. Where did Mackenzie think that he was going to go? Now moving to my final thoughts. This case highlights the danger of a person who is willing to do anything in response to emotional experiences within relationships. Mackenzie had a frightening level of determination. She kept her foot on the floor and steered toward a building as her vehicle accelerated to 100 miles per hour. Few killers are as dangerous as those who are willing to die to commit homicide. When a person is driven by emotions, they may be exciting initially because they shift relationships into high gear, but ultimately, they always drive on the road to nowhere. Those are my thoughts on the case of Mackenzie Shirilla. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.